Hello, everyone. This is Matt Weller, Global Head of Research at City Index, and it's my pleasure today to be joined by two experts in Latin America to talk about the possible impact of the U.S. election on the rest of the Americas. So today I'm joined by Renato Rasmussen, Director of Market Intelligence at StoneX Group, and Sergio Detmer, Vice President of Risk Management at StoneX Group. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Very well, Max. Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Really well, Matt. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. We should be able to get a bit of a different perspective than the one I'm used to. When it comes to the election, I'm of course hyper-focused on what's going on domestically here in the United States, but I think you guys should be able to provide a bit of a broader perspective, and I'm looking forward to hopefully learning some things. So I'll just kick it off with a general question. How do you see the state of the U.S. election, generally speaking? And we'll start with Renato.
Oh, Matt, I think that first, it's far from over. At least it seems like that, although November 3 is almost here, because of the way that the election is happening in the US through mail votes, there is a lot of room for discussions that are going to follow up on the election day, maybe even taking the discussion to the to a legal battle. So this is very concerning, as is traditional. To election events, I see a risk of the possibility of risk-off events. People taking the money of commodities, particularly because of the intrinsic risk that are associated with this type of products. And I think this is very likely, particularly on this election, because of the way that it's happening. Sergio, do you agree with me?
Absolutely, Renato. I think it's a sensitive issue, not just socially and politically speaking, but economically in the United States, but in Latin America as well. I mean, certainly it's going to be a very important election, since any candidate, Trump or Biden, will face huge challenges for the coming years. And we're talking here about, of course, the pandemic, the COVID-19, economic recession, unemployment. You have China, the rising of China's political power and economic power, Russia, and the Middle East. So name it. It's going to be a really, really important election on November 3rd.
Yeah, it's interesting to see as far as what the market's pricing in terms of volatility as well. If we go back a month or two, the VIX futures were priced very high for November. There was a lot of uncertainty about the market. That has come in a little bit, perhaps with polls shifting a little bit toward the Democrats in recent weeks, but there's still a very notable kink in the VIX futures curve. And what that means is essentially that traders are expecting an outburst of volatility. And indeed, if we do get that brutal, acrimonious court battle that is sort of a worst case scenario, that's something that now there's more room for market volatility to expand. So it'll be an interesting couple of weeks here. And just for reference, we're recording on October 23rd. So any new information that comes out won't necessarily be covered by this, but we're now 10 days out from the election. So we're sort of in the final stages one way or another. Perhaps sticking with Sergio, as you're an expert in Latin America more broadly, what countries in particular are you watching when it comes to this election, and how could they be impacted depending on who wins?
Well, obviously, and geographically speaking, Mexico is going to be the main player or country that's going to be impacted for this election. The first thing that comes to my mind is the agreement, the USMCA agreement with Canada and the United States. And I don't think if any of the candidates wins, I mean, Trump or Biden, will change a lot of that point. But any change in the policies that any of the candidates would apply in the future that could impact which is the number one trade partner with the United States, which is Mexico, will be a huge impact in Mexico that is in recession already. In addition to any other policy that will face, like immigration policy, with other recession, a lot of people is pushing against to go to the United States. And you need to consider that if any of the candidates will push more China to tariffs or this kind of a commercial war, that will impact countries like Argentina and Brazil in agricultural commodities. Will China demand more commodities from these two countries?
Absolutely. The trade war seems to have gotten lost in the shuffle when a year ago that's all everyone was talking about. And certainly we can understand why that's happened, but it's still going on. It's still a factor that's driving economies and certain agricultural commodities in particular. When it comes to Brazil, there's perhaps no one I'd rather talk to than Renato. So could you chime in specifically with regard to Brazil and how that could be impacted around the election?
Well, if we're talking particularly about the impacts to commodity markets in Brazil, there are three things we should consider. First one is how the election is going to impact FX. So the Brazilian currency is currently extremely devaluated, and it's very unlikely that regardless of who is going to win the election, that such scenario is going to change. The fundamentals for us to have a continued devalued Brazilian currency over the coming months and perhaps even years is very likely. And so this boosts our internal commodity markets because Brazilian, as you know, is the largest producer and exporter of a wide range of agricultural commodities such as soy, corn, orange juice. We are the largest producer of sugar cane. So you name it, it's a very large tropical country. So we are extremely important producer of a wide range of commodities. And the devaluated Brazilian currency makes the prices for the domestic producers much higher. So it doesn't really matter which candidate is going to win. Because of the economic fundamentals that Brazil is facing, the currency is going to continue to remain very likely devalued. And so this boosts the pricing for our farmers. And so our internal commodity market, it remains very strong. What really concerns me is the second point is how the US relationship is going to evolve in regards to China. So China is our largest commercial partner regarding agricultural commodities. Not only agricultural commodities, even iron ore. We are one of the largest exporters of iron ore to China. And so how the relationship between the US and China is going to play out may drastically impact how we are going to benefit or not from that. Now, I don't see a drastic change in the way that the US has been dealing with China if Biden wins. I think we can expect maybe a little less volatility, a more, more conversations, a more political way of dealing with things without a lot of friction. So that maybe bring a little bit more certainty to the markets, may make things a little bit easier. But I don't see a drastic change. As a matter of fact, I think that even though Biden may come up with a more environmental agenda, and this may be concerning to Brazil because, it has been a heated topic, how our government has been dealing with the Amazon fires and deforestation. So it's very likely that Biden is going to pressure Brazil a little bit into becoming a little bit more strict in how we conduct our environmental regulations. However, he can't really pressure us too much because he needs Brazil on his side as he develop his relationship with China, because as we are a very important exporter of agricultural commodities to China, he will need our support in order for his policies in regards to China to be effective. And so I think that, our government has been much more aligned with the Trump government over the past few months. Actually, since our government Bolsonaro assumed the presidency. However, I don't see a Biden government, even with an eventual environmental policy, really detaching too much because of the need for having Bolsonaro's support. And the third thing that I would like to look into has to do with other factors that are unrelated to the election itself, but more about how the overall economy is going to develop after the COVID. Now we are seeing a strong recovery in China, and particularly in regards to the way that the market has been coming back after the swine flu. We are seeing strong increases from from grain products in order to provide feed to the herd. So this is very optimistic to the type of agricultural products that Brazil exports. I think that even doesn't matter who one is going to win the election, all of the fundamentals are still very beneficial for agricultural commodity markets in Brazil. Now, if that extends to other Latin countries, maybe Sergio may be more positioned to reply that, to talk about it.
Yeah, Renato, doing my job for me. What do you see as far as major countries in play, different markets that could be impacted by this election throughout Latin America, Sergio?
Well, I am totally agree with the variable that Renato just said about the Brazil, and I'll say probably Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina will be the three biggest countries that will be impacted by the election. Mostly Mexico in the part of the USMCA agreement with Brazil on all the dealing with China and the agricultural commodities. That's for sure.
Sure. And are there any other markets, anything else in play that you're watching when it comes to this election? Because I think Renato mentioned that there's these big macro trends that are developing. And certainly this time of year, especially if you're based in the US in a swing state like I am, it's hard to get your mind off of the election. But in some cases, the bigger risk for investors is that they become too hyper-focused on politics, which is, after all, a very emotional, tribal connection, that they don't look at the fundamentals underlying the market. So what are some of those key fundamentals, drivers, themes that you're watching? And we'll keep it with Sergio for this one. Anything else come to mind?
Thank you, Matt. In addition with the election, of course, our team here in Miami is focusing in three major variables for the next year. The first one, of course, is the COVID-19 and what is the impact of this pandemic around the world. We're already in the recession, so we need to figure out how fast all the economies will come back from that recession. As Renato said, today, only China is the one from the G20, the only economy that will grow in this year, when the United States and all the other G7 economies are still having a contraction in the economy. So the second one is, for us, very important, is unemployment, because the unemployment is going to be the key for the economic recuperation in the following years. And the third one is what will be the relationship between the United States and China. Because if this commercial war, commercial issue keeps for the following years, that will disrupt again the logistics channels, like the thing with soybeans in Brazil or meal in Argentina, that will push a little bit more the delicate balance that we have right now. We need to remember that the International Monetary Fund just published the last projections for the world. It's a contraction this year of 0.4%, but for Latin America, the whole region is minus 8%, so it's a huge drop. And the interesting thing about this projection is that even though they are better than the last one in June, the recuperation for 2021 are not as good as the ones made in June. I mean, like Latin America is gonna have a contraction of 8.8%, but the recuperation, it will be less than 5%. So it will take longer in order to recover from that recession. And for the unemployment, it's very, very significant that actually Mexico and Brazil are projecting to have higher unemployment for 2021. So that is a key factor to watch.
Right. It seems like the world's just crossing their fingers for a vaccine at this point. And even if we do get one, and I do think the information, the data has been pretty impressive when it comes to the early stages of the vaccine. It's still going to take a while to ramp up, to distribute. I think 2021, unfortunately, isn't going to be anywhere near back to normal. But hopefully, maybe by the end of the year, we'll be heading in that direction. Renato, any other general things that you're watching? And I also want to give both of you guys, starting with Renato, an opportunity to mention any research that you have or anything that you guys are providing to help clients.
Well, Matt, something that I have been following very closely has to do with weather events. As you know, we are having a La Nina currently, and we are right at the moment where soybean is being planted in Brazil. So October 10th is the day when we, by law, can start planting, and we are seeing delays throughout the border because of lacking rain. La Nina weather may bring a lot of uncertainty in regards to yields, and because Brazil is such a massive soybean and corn producer, we can expect some volatility on those two markets coming forward. If we delay the soybean harvest too much, this may end up impacting corn later on, because in Brazil, the producers do what we call the double cropping. So they plant soybeans in the summer, and then after harvesting the soybean, they come up and they plant the corn. So, however, if you start delaying the soybean planting too much, you are going to plant the corn much later, and you end up pushing it towards the winter. Now, Brazil is not cold in the winter by any means, but it's dry. And so you end up risking losing yields because of the dryness. And so this is very concerning to me. So you asked about some of our research. Brazil has, our team in Brazil, the market intelligence division of StoneX in Brazil, has just released yesterday our quarterly outlook for all of the major commodity markets we cover. It's available in Portuguese and in English on our StoneX website, and we cover from metals going to soy, corn, wheat, cocoa, you name it. There are 15 commodities, even oil and natural gas. There is a bunch of good information there with our outlook for the coming months. So feel free to reach out to our market intelligence website, and you're going to find it available for free.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that, of course, StoneX and Gain Capital, the parent company of City Index, merged earlier this year. And as I was perusing that market intelligence platform, that was one of the reports that really jumped out as a thorough piece of deep research that's well presented. So congratulations on that quarterly report. And certainly I want to just reiterate, anyone who's remotely interested in that, please do look into that report, because it provides a great overview of what to expect for the next 3 months. And again, it's constantly updated every quarter. So very valuable piece of research. What about you, Sergio? What are you involved with? What are your teams producing, and what should listeners be aware of?
In the same way that Renato said, we're offering to our customers a platform, mostly in Spanish, for Latin American countries with all the market intelligence focusing in their markets. But we use a lot of what Brazil Market Intelligence Group team does. They provide really, really nice information, more than information, analysis and projection that we use to feed our own analysis for Latin America. So right now, our customers is asking us about the same, what is going on with the election in the United States, what will the impact. So in addition to be a market analyst, now we become a politics analyst too,
right?
And economists and whatever they are asking us. So it's a good thing to be in StoneX, because you can just pick up the phone and talk with people like Renato, professionals on analysis of people in Europe or people in Canada, and just have from firsthand information and analysis that is happening all around the world.
That's great stuff. Thank you guys for your time, for this analysis. I know I learned a lot, and certainly if for everyone who's still listening, clearly you found this analysis valuable. So I want to just get one last plug in there and remind you guys to like this video, subscribe to our channel, because that shows us that you're finding this type of research valuable, and it's something that encourages us to produce more of these types of videos, something I enjoy doing and I think provides a lot of value to our clients and traders. So thanks again, Sergio. Thanks again, Renato. And I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Pleasure.
guys.
Bye.